theme of this year's International Women's Day is Choose to Challenge, and I'm delighted to be joined by a veteran of the car industry who decided to do just that. Welcome to Julia Muir.
Thanks, Anita.
Julia's CEO of Gaia Innovation and author of Change the Game, the leader's roadmap to a winning gender-balanced business. Now, Julia, you've won lots of awards for the work you've done for the Automotive 30% Club. And before we do talk about your book, I'd love to know why you founded the club.
Well, as always with these things, it's a very long story, but I'll try and keep it as succinct as possible. So I've worked in the automotive industry for all of my career, way too long to be able to define it in years and not be embarrassed about it. But the story really starts when I was about 8 years old and I was helping my dad in his home tune business. So I was there answering the phones, taking bookings, helping him with the service sheets, 54-point engine check with adjustments. So it never occurred to me that the motor trade might not be a place that women would find attractive as a career option. So when I looked for graduate placements as a student and Perry's motor sales came on board, I jumped to the opportunity to have a company car and learn every job in a dealership. Now, when I was at Perry's, I was in what I would describe as a pretty gender balanced team for the time. So I'd say that was 1990s. So again, no real alert or flag raised about the fact that, why are there few women? Because there were many women in management roles in that specific dealership. I then joined Ford Motor Company and worked there for many years, again, finding that it was fairly gender balanced teams. But I then moved to work in Germany and Spain and came back to the UK after a career break and started teaching on the Loughborough University automotive management programs, only to find, so this is 15 years after I'd helped set them up when I was in Ford, only to find that there are still only men putting themselves forward for those leadership development courses. So I began to think, well, why is that? Why do there seem to be so few women progressing into management roles now? Because it seemed to have gone backwards from the time when I was, starting out in my career. So I spoke to a few of my peers who are now running some of the big companies in the UK, automotive companies, to find out why. And they all acknowledged that, in fact, things had stalled, and they were the leaders in charge of those businesses, and they were slightly embarrassed, I suppose, that they personally hadn't done anything about it. So at that point, I decided I would found the Automotive 30% Club with a very specific goal, smart goal, as they'd say, to achieve 30% of key leadership roles to be filled by women by 2030. And the original founder members were the people that knew me very well, that they were now in these powerful positions, and they agreed that they would now start to take action. And it's moved on from there. But the real thing, I suppose, linking it back to the theme of choose to challenge, was I decided that I had to challenge the status quo. It was, somebody's got to do something about this. And I also decided to challenge how traditionally we would have gone about it. So when I had my initial discussions with some of the more senior people in the sector, shall we say, I was told, well, you have to go through the SMMT, you'll have to agree it with the NFDA. That's the way we do things. And I just chose to not do that, because I thought, well, if I follow the path that everyone's supposed to follow, nothing will change, because otherwise they would have already changed it themselves. So that's why I set up a completely separate entity and decided to go about it in a collaborative networking type manner, and not seeking permission from those in authority to do it.
And we met 5 years ago, and I've just seen the growth of that automotive club has gone just from strength to strength. The work that now is out there and the bank of women that are being recognised for the work that they do in their organisations, but the organisations are now putting the frameworks together based on the recommendations you've made to actually really make a difference, haven't they?
Yes, and it's some have actually adopted the framework exactly as I'd designed it, but others have personalized it or made it more appropriate for the language and the way that they would approach things in their companies, and that's all perfectly fine. It is basically a simple HR development strategy that helps people progress through an organization. But I suppose I put it into kind of marketing and sales speak so that more people that weren't HR practitioners would be able to understand it.